Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of what you can get from that pack series. We're counting down to the end of the year and the end of the decade, so I'm really wondering how many more what can you get from that pack episodes am I going to do for the rest of the year and the rest of the decade. This could be the last one, all things considered. You never know. But as you guys know, I like to review packs that are just really special and unique. And once again, we have a new one on our hands, and this is actually the German Renaissance 4-wheel drive pack. Now, as you guys already know, especially those that have seen this not this channel, but this series for a long time, I only do cars that are ultra rare and above, and I do not include prize cars. So with that said, let's get into it. Why I'm doing this is because obviously German Renaissance 4-wheel drive cars are the cream of the crop and the cars that we need for the Sesto Elemento finals, or as I like to call it, the Pesto Elemento, as pesto is indeed my favorite pasta sauce. Why am I even giving off this information? Anyway, in this pack, in total, from Ultra and above, you can get a grand total of 39 cars, excluding the prize cars. So 39 cars, 9 of them are ultra rare, 17, the majority, is going to be epic, and 13 are legendary. So, in fact, the least amount of top ranked cars you can get are the ultras. You can get more epics and legendaries than the ultras. In fact, you can almost get double the amount of epics than the ultras. Obviously, this is just in terms of the variety in the pack. Obviously, you know, chances of getting an ultra is still like, what, 80% or something like that. But with that said, let's get into it and see what this pack has installed for us. So as you can see, one very unique thing about this pack straight off the bat is that the weakest car you can get is the BMW X5 4.4i. This is the lowest of the low and is at RQ20, which is refreshing to see. Not a single RQ19 up for grabs, and obviously not a cursed / Joker card. Not a single RQ19 BMW, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know that we do not want RQ19 BMWs. 7.20 to 60, 68 handling. The handling on this is decent, but besides that, not really much to say about the X5 4.4. Moving on, the next car we can get is the BMW 520d X-Drive. This is a very, very niche kind of category car because I think it is the only RQ20 4-wheel drive standard tire medium ground clearance car, and it's very rare because not a lot of ultra rares have 4-wheel drive standard tires and medium ground clearance in general. So this being the only RQ20 one, and then there are not a lot of cars in this category in ultra rare itself. So if you do get this car, don't feel bad because I think this is an amazing car, the 520d. I have one maxed out. I think it's about 83 handling max at 969, and it really is just a decent car for rain, especially rainy city streets. Moving on, only 2 RQ20s that you can get. The next one is the Volkswagen Touareg. I've had this car twice now, fused it once, and I still have another one in my garage. Handling, once again, looks okay, 0 to 60. Once again, it just looks like an all-round decent ride. I'm sure it's very, very heavy, however. Moving on is the Volkswagen Golf R32, which is unfortunately not the Nissan Skyline. 5.80 to 60, 80 handling. I've had this car twice, I've used it twice. I'm not a huge fan of Volkswagen, guys, so because of that, you know, I have nothing much to say about this because I don't know them that well either. Moving on is the BMW X5. This one's very interesting because it has the style icon tag. I wouldn't necessarily think this X5 would be a style icon, but I'm sure Hutch has their reasons for it, or at least, what's his name, John in particular. But this is indeed a style icon car, 6.60 to 60, 70 handling, 4-wheel drive. I had this car. I got it recently, like I think right after the M4 GTS final, something like that, but I fused it because it's just not as good as the RQ22 all-surface BMWs that we'll get into in a bit. But next is the BMW X3. Now I just want to compare this with the X5, 66, 70, 72, 72. Interesting. So it looks like the X5 actually looks pretty fast at 6.60 to 60. But however, this car is a little more like grippier. It has a little better handling at 72. X3 is a car that I recently just got from the Tier 2 qualifier prize. It's a very decent car, I have to say, and I do love the picture, but once again, I don't think I'll be maxing this out anytime soon, just because, like I said, those RQ22 BMW SUVs are just a little better. And we're getting into that right now, starting off with the BMW X6, 72 handling, 6.5, so as you can see, it's already much better than the X5. The X5 was 6.6 and 70, right? It's 6.5, 72. This is a great car. In general, it's a great car. I had this maxed out 969. I think it's like 5.8. 0 to 60 and 80 handling, so definitely a very decent showing for an RQ22 SUV. Moving on, however, is the BMW X1, which has that 7.2 actually from the BMW X3 that was RQ21, but what makes this car special is that 75 handling. I don't have this, but I've raced against this X1 before, and it hits 83 handling, and it is better than I have, because I have the X6, and the X1 is actually better, at least in the twisty stuff. I'm not sure if it's better than the hairpin, but what I remember from the pre-eliminations, because we saw a lot of these cars because it was off-road, from the pre-eliminations, I was actually scared of racing people that had this BMW X1 maxed out. Something about that 83 handling kind of just puts you off a bit. It's definitely quite a strong car. Lastly, the last ultra rare we can get is indeed the BMW 640i xDrive. This is a car, you know, a lot of people have been telling me, Blossom, this is actually a pretty good car. Well, I took your advice for it and I maxed it out 969 because, not 699 because I really only want to use it for the rain, because I want to really capitalize on that four-wheel drive capability. Also, it's low, so you can't use it for medium ground clearance, and the main competitor to the 640i xDrive is indeed the Ford RS200, and I've tested that, and the RS200 is just indeed a better car. The RS200 is 4.0 0 to 60, 90 handling. This 640i is 89 handling, 4.2 0 to 60, but it has traction control and ABS, and I think it has decent MRA as well. But then, that being said, the RS200 has an amazing MRA as well. So, not as good as the RS200, but still is a decent car. And who knows, you know, if it's going to be kinda like, if the finals are gonna have rainy hairpin, then this car would definitely come in handy if there is a rainy hairpin, because it will be better than all the all-surface tire SUVs, because hairpin requires a little bit of MRA, and it's also going to be better than the 520d xDrive, because hairpin isn't that twisty, and, you know, the four-wheel drive capability will kind of overwhelm the standard tires, if you get what I mean. Especially if you play Top Drives for a long time, you know exactly what I mean. Anyway, let's move on to the epics. We're gonna run through this really quickly here, because there are a lot of Joker epics. One thing about this pack, what I've seen from all the cars, is that it's kind of like a 50-50 pack, right? You either get something really good or you get something really crap. And we're starting off with something really crap with the Volkswagens. Basically any Volkswagen in this pack is bad. The next one is the new Touareg. I think it's a beautiful looking car, to be honest. I think it's a beautiful picture. I love how the car looks. However, you know, once again, stats just don't point to greatness now, does it? 73 handling for an epic is just kinda meh. You know, the XT5 has it better. I think the XT5 is Cadillac XT5 is 77 handling, just to put into perspective. However, this has a pretty low 0 to 60, just to, you know, even things out a bit. Moving on is the Volkswagen Phaeton. Shout out to Wifcars_Subaru for teaching me how to actually pronounce it correctly. I've had this car once before. I got it from a ceramic pack, fused it immediately into my Cadillac 16. I mean, Volkswagens, when you get them, Volkswagen is like the opposite of roof. When you get a roof, you know that it's going to have great MRA. But when you get a Volkswagen, you know it's going to have horrendous MRA. So don't even think about it, it's a horrendous car. Moving on is indeed one of the worst, the Volkswagen Golf R. 3.90 to 60, yeah, 3.9, of course, amazing, right? No, because this Golf R has an MRA of 39.11. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Anyway, moving on to Volkswagen CC. Once again, I don't know my Volkswagens very well, so I'm just going to move on. Next is the BMW X4. 6.0 0 to 60, 75 handling, four-wheel drive or surface tires. Followed by that is the X335D and the X2. So 3 very underwhelming BMW epics. However, they do get compensated with the X6 and my mom's car coming on in the future. So like I said before, this is a 50-50 pack. You either get something really good or something really useless. Next is once again another really useless car, the Volkswagen Arteon. Just a lot of fused material. However, I have to say this Arteon does look like it has decent handling at 78. So that is pretty decent indeed. Anyway, moving on is the BMW i8 Roadster as well as the BMW i8. I don't think these cars have amazing MRA. Their handling is quite weak as well, but once again, you know, back to that point on if there are rainy hairpins and rainy fast circuits, then, you know, these i8s might come in handy. Moving on is the Volkswagen W12 Synchro. This is probably like the only Volkswagen I would think people will get excited about because it has four-wheel drive and it has decent handling, to be fair. 86 is actually pretty good. 3.5 0 to 60 as well is indeed very, very low. In fact, 3.5 is lower than the Hellcat, which has a base 0 to 60, at least the Challenger Hellcat, of 3.7. So yeah, very nice 3.5 0 to 60. 86 handling is decent and four-wheel drive as well. However, I'm pretty sure this car has like no MRA whatsoever. If not, it does look like it is a pretty good Epic, to be fair. Moving on is the BMW X6. Amazing MRA on this, about 88 MRA. 4.6 0 to 60, 74 handling, alongside with indeed the X3 M40i. 88 MRA once again, 46 0 to 60, 74 handling. You would think these two cars are almost identical, which they are, but the X3 is like 300 kg lighter, which will help it a lot in a lot of tracks. I do love this car. I was so happy to get this from the qualifiers, especially when you see the contents in this pack. You can get a lot of bad stuff too, so the fact that I got the X3 M40i, I'm over the moon about that. Over the moon. Anyway, moving on is the BMW M850i xDrive convertible, followed by the BMW M760Li xDrive V12. Now this car is pretty amazing as well because four-wheel drive, medium ground clearance, and 3.5 0 to 60, which is indeed lower than the Challenger Hellcat at 3.7. That's like my benchmark for low 0 to 60 stock, the Hellcat, because I just know their stats. I just know them. But anyway, moving on is the BMW 750D xDrive. This is a car I really want in particular, just because it is one of the greatest four-wheel drive standard tire BMWs in the game. I used to have the 750D from like 2009 or something, and I love that car. 83 handling max out. It's an amazing thing, but this car is just slightly better, and I feel like I have a higher chance of getting this than the CT6, because at this point I feel like the CT6 is just like the wide body. It's just evading me, right? Anyway, let's move on to the legendaries, the final cars you can get. Starting off is the Volkswagen Golf R400, 3782 and four-wheel drive. Moving on is the Roof Dakara, which has a very happy front face. I mean, I can't get over the fact of how the front looks. 4.8 0 to 60, 80 handling. Honestly, 80 handling for a four-wheel drive all-surface tire car, I'll take it. That is just decent, straight off the bat, just decent. I will respect that. Moving on is the BMW X6M, which takes things up 1 point, brings things up a notch at 81 handling. Four-wheel drive all-surface tires. I actually want to see how they compare. 4.5, 81, 4.8. 80, but then again, once again, it's a roof, so the roof probably has amazing MRA, right? Moving on is the X5M, 4.5, and 80. I do know a couple people that have this car. This picture kind of annoys me a bit because you can see that it's supposed to have a car plate, but it doesn't. So it kind of just annoys me that there's like a car plate, but there isn't a car plate, if you get what I mean. Anyway, moving on is the BMW M850i xDrive. Beautiful car in real life. I really want one in real life, to be honest. It's a great Grand Tourer. I think it's a beautiful car. But it's useless in top drives, let's be real. It's useless in top drives. I have one. Never, ever use it. Moving on is the BMW 640i xDrive Grand Coupe. Beautiful car, this. The best standard tire car in the game. I am a Cadillac 16 owner, and I should be biased towards it, but I have to say, the 640i is indeed the best standard tire car in the game. So if you do have it, make sure you keep it. It's amazing. Even though if you might not need to use it for the finals, it's amazing either way. Now, we're going into a couple of roofs here. We start with the Roof Turbo R Limited, very beautiful car, 3685, followed by the Roof R Turbo 3687, and then the Roof Turbo Florio at 3087, the Roof RT12S at 2887, and finally the cream of the crop, the Roof CTR2 3386, and a godly MRA of 110. Amazing car. Beautiful picture as well. Okay, beautiful picture. I take that back a little bit because it's really badly cropped. But I do like the picture they used. Okay, it's very 90s. I like it a lot. Anyway, final two cars here is indeed the BMW M5 Competition Delimited and the BMW M5 Regular. So, as you can see, literally every legendary you can get from this pack is amazing besides the Golf. So if you do get the Golf, my condolences to you, and if I do get the Golf, my condolences to myself, because I do love every other legendary you can get. Epics, once again, it's a 50-50, starts off very weak actually, but then it ends very strong. And the Ultras, honestly, there isn't really an Ultra that I really distaste, so I'll be happy with any Ultra I get. So once again, final verdict, should you guys open this pack? I would say if you really love the Sesto Elemento, and you really love German Renaissance cars, and you really love these epics and legendaries, and you're feeling lucky, then go for it. However, if you don't like German Renaissance cars, if you don't collect it, and the Sesto Elemento doesn't mean that much to you, like it's not like a car that you must have in your garage, then I would say abstain. Because although, yes, you have a chance at getting some of the greatest cars in the game, namely the best standard tire car in the game, the odds are very low. So I would say, just like this pack, it's a 50-50. You love German Renaissance, go for it. You don't, then I would say abstain. Will I open any? I don't know. I might open one. I just might open one, but we will see. With that said though, that is the pack. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for all the support as well as Christmas is closing. Recently hit 2,440 subscribers, so if we can hit 2,450 by the end of the year or before my birthday on the 30th, I would just be so happy. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.